What's up, everyone? Shaq here for EDM.com, and you know who this is. Ahead of the release of his new album, Contact, coming out November 21st. Subfocus. Nick, how are you, sir?
Yes, very well, man. Thanks for having me.
There you go. In
Great to
real
be here.
time, I had to be like, when is this coming out? Is it ahead of, afterwards? But you know what? We'll figure it out as we go. As of today, which is 2 days before the album release, how are we feeling to finally sort of be hitting the finish mark?
Yeah, it feels great. You definitely go through phases, I find, when you work on an album, because you kind of love all the tracks initially, then you kind of get kind of jitters towards the release, and you're like, so it kind of comes like I think every song you have like a mini relationship with almost
Mm.
like you kind of love it and then you're not sure about it and then you like it again and stuff and luckily I'm kind of going into that phase of really enjoying hearing the tracks again. I've had a bit of distance from it now
Mm.
in the run up to promoting it and everything, so yeah, it's feeling really good, man. It's good to get everything out there, and been working on it for a couple of years, so it's been quite a long build up. I sort of started working on it like when I was collaborating with John Summit on Go Back. So that kind of ended up being like the first song that I marked as like wanting to be on this record. So yeah, it all went from there really.
I really love how you described it as a mini relationship with each track because, like anyone who's ever been in a relationship, I'm sure there are times of self doubt or friction, or maybe you just sort of maybe feel stale. How do you parse whether the maybe down feelings you're having towards a track at a time is more of a momentary thing versus something that actually needs to be addressed?
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's really hard to tell. I think like whenever I make a track that I really like, I generally know because the first bit I'm like really sure of it, you
Mm.
know? So I think I kind of know like the tracks that I'm really gonna like almost straight away. But then I wonder because like the tracks that I really end up liking are the ones that kind of where the birth is easy,
Mm.
and sometimes you can kind of grind out a result on a song, but yeah, it's often when something comes together quite quickly. Um, I think it's really nice though to have a bit of time to live with something before you release it. I do sometimes like struggle a little bit with remixes because quite often with a remix you might get a call 2 weeks before a label wants to release a song.
Mm.
They might be like, we want to put this, we want you to submit the remix in 2 weeks, and it's like really tight because you've really only got like one or two shows to test that song at maybe. And with my last album, I actually went away traveling for 6 weeks, like after I'd handed in the album, and it was amazing because when I got back, I still had a little bit of time to work on stuff, and I could really clearly hear what needed to be done to every song, and just like little
Mhm.
tweaks and stuff, because I just had that good month of distance from it. So that would be my advice to any producers. I mean, that personally works for me really well to just have a bit of time.
That's so funny you say that because I feel the same way about my writing sometimes. Some of my like wife's or my friend's favorite pieces I'll have a hard time sort of connecting to because the writing process was so stressful for me and there was so much
Oh yeah.
um, uncertainty against a tight deadline. Whereas the ones where I really just hit the ground running, I'm always most proud of. I know
Yeah.
that sci-fi is a big theme through a lot of your projects, especially Contact. So I have a little sci-fi themed rapid fire I'd like to work through if that's okay.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
start easy. What is your favorite movie or television adaptation of a novel?
In the sci-fi category,
Hmm.
let's. I mean, I really rate the Denis Villeneuve Dune adaptation, so I probably might have to say that. Yeah.
Have we remixed that at all live yet?
No, but that needs to
It needs
happen.
to.
Actually, James Culture Shock, who's one of the other guys in Worship, did an amazing version of one of the tracks in Dune. You've just reminded me. I need to like tell him to finish
Good.
that.
I'm happy to hear that. I look forward to hearing it. Okay. On that note, which sci-fi property has the best soundtrack?
Oh man. I mean, I think the original Blade Runner has got to be. the Vangelis soundtrack is like just absolutely seminal, and it's famously composed on a CS80, which is like this amazing old Yamaha analog synth. Um, it's like one of the most expensive synths you can buy. I remember I used to have a studio next to the Nero guys, and they bought one for something like £10,000. You know, this is like about 10 years ago, maybe a bit more. And at the time, I was like, man, that's a lot of money. And now they're worth like five times that or
I
something.
bet.
So it's pretty crazy.
All right. There's
Um,
so much fascin. Sorry. Go on. My fault.
no, 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 you go, man. Keep going.
There's so much fascination around an obsession over sci-fi series, but what, in your opinion, is the best standalone sci-fi film? So, no Star Wars, no Star Trek, no Dune. It's got to be one movie.
The best standalone. I mean, 2001: Space Odyssey. I think that's pretty up there. Yeah, I would have to go for that.
Big Arrival fan here with Amy Adams and
Oh, I love Arrival
yeah,
as well, actually,
what
honestly. I
what
didn't think of that
so,
at the moment, but
this
you
is
said
this,
it, but that's a great one.
this is the cultural exchange we're doing here. If
Yeah.
you could provide the soundtrack for one sci-fi franchise, what would it be? Which I think is interesting because it can't just be your. I mean, it could just be your favorite, but I feel like it needs to sort of fit the sub-focus sound a little bit, right?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, funnily enough, I mean, I'm kind of picking something I've already talked about, but a few years ago, someone from my label got in touch and they were like, um, they were saying that the Blade Runner film, the 2049 version that came out, the reboot, they were at one point like looking for music because they had a different composer originally doing the soundtrack, and then I think they got Hans Zimmer involved. But there was a moment when they were like asking people for music,
Mm.
and which was an amazing brief, and I was obviously like super inspired. I ended up making this intro that I never sent to them, but I was like, it was sitting on my computer for a while, and then my friend came in and was like, "Man, that would be an amazing intro for a drum and bass song." And then it became my track "Solar System," which is
No
like a
way.
huge instrumental song for me over the last few years. So
Oh, crazy.
yeah, I've got to thank those guys because that really inspired me when I was making it.
Last one. What is the first emotion that sci-fi elicits for you when you think about it?
I mean, I think it's just yeah, I find it. I mean, it's exciting, inspiring. I love. I mean, the type of stuff I really like is stuff that really makes you think. So it's quite often like it's not necessarily like I think there's some sci-fi that has like it's almost like fantasy and it's like in the far future and it's
Mm.
like Star Trek or wherever it might be. But like I love and I like lots of that too. But I love stuff that's kind of like a near future type of thing where it's like really makes you think about like what if there was this subtle change in the world and what would happen or that's the type of those are the type of sci-fi things that I'm drawn to really.
What is it about sci-fi and the great beyond that you think, as humans, we're so fascinated by?
Well, I think after a certain amount of time, you're kind of like um a certain amount of time being around, as a human on the earth, right? You kind of mind starts to wander, and you're like, is this all there is? What's out there? I think it's just like from my perspective, you can't help but not, be really fascinated. I mean, I think that the title contact kind of alludes to this idea of first contact and like what would that be like? It's a fascinating idea. I think is it the Fermi paradox that it's the weird thing like we haven't encountered any alien life yet. There's almost certainly loads out there. It's just that it's probably so far away that we haven't been able to receive any communications. Or they're just observing us because maybe I think sometimes we're so primitive that we're being observed but not disturbed. A bit like I feel like we might do with animals now. We're like, the kind of the correct thing to do is to not disturb the
Hmm.
environment that they're living in. So I think that there is a possibility that there's like some much more intelligent being observing us, like a and just letting us crack on with what we're doing, and they might start to contact us if we become too advanced or something.
I saw an interview that you did with DJ Mag, and when talking about this project and a lot of the sci-fi influences, you talked about your late father and his artistic endeavors and his love for sci-fi, and it sounded
Yeah.
like it was more of a recent discovery for you, like how much you're sort of tracing back to him.
Yeah.
What's it been like to sort of reconnect with him in that sense while building this
Yeah,
project?
it was nice. I mean, I haven't really like um spoken about him that much in interviews before, but I think he was Dutch, and I've been sort of reconnecting with a lot of family out there
Mm,
recently. But I think when I was talking to DJ Mag, I was just sort of thinking about all these things that have influenced me a lot, and one of those was like growing up in a house full of sci-fi novels. So I was
mm,
consuming a lot of that kind of stuff whilst I was a teenager, and I was also kind of obsessed with this very futuristic music at the time that I was getting into, i.e., drum and bass music. So there was kind of those two things kind of went hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, as that interview went on, I think there were loads of things that I, ended up talking about that kind of it almost kind of reminded me of these like things that I was growing up around. Like, um, he was an art dealer and used to sell a lot of prints, which were basically uh, all like loads of like very abstract kind of geometric shapes, and particularly these shapes called Lissajous shapes, which are kind of like these. It's a sort of type of description of a 3D shape, that a mathematical shape that kind of folds on itself, and you also find these in oscillator art, which is like this sort of way of drawing wireframe visuals using sound waves.
mm,
And I'd kind of got into this soundwave art as part of the sort of design process of my production show, Circular Sound, and I was doing things like designing my intro visuals by making sounds that create the shapes. And yeah, just I guess that interview, I was like kind of ended up joining the dots a lot between these things that like I'd grown up around, and then I was like, hang on a second, actually, that's kind of really similar to some of the weird stuff I get up to now.
beautiful. As important as family is for me, friends are just as important. And I feel like having supportive friends is something that has followed you through your career. Can you tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
your friends, the ones who encouraged you to pursue music, the one who handed your demo CD to Andy C, and what they mean to
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah, sure. So yeah, I've got a number of friends that I am like incredibly grateful to for like their how they've sort of pushed me into the right direction, and really helped me to kind of get a career in music basically. I mean, Jack is my friend who gave Andy the CD, and um he was probably about 18 at the time, and he was like um doing lots of DJing. He was warming up for Andy
Mm,
C at a show outside London, and Jack basically initially just wanted to get some songs for himself to play. Like, he kind of wanted to have some exclusives that Andy might not have. But then, very kindly, on a whim, he gave Andy my CD, and me and Andy C, after this, ended up having a long running relationship, and he basically kind of became my mentor
mhm.
early on when I was coming through in the scene. So hugely grateful to people like Jack, but there's also, yeah, tons of other people who've like, either my good friend Sam, who loves to come and sit with me in the studio and work on stuff, or um, people like an old friend of mine, Mike Gidding, who came with me to he used to force me to finish songs, and then we'd go and cut them onto dub plates, which is what you used to do pre CDJs. So this is a really long time ago. And all these things have really, really helped me to get where I am today. But I think what I've really realized is, there's been moments in my career where I've been a bit isolated, and For years I was in a flat share, which was amazing because my friends there were like, going out to clubs all the time, very into the scene, So I was playing them stuff all the time, and they were kind of giving me great feedback. And um, yeah, just I think I've realized like how it's incredibly important your community, and your people you surround yourself with. Um, it's a really nice setup at the moment because working with the worship guys, there's four of us and our manager and his team. So we've kind of got this real crew of us now, and obviously we've been doing a lot of shows together in the States, and starting to do shows together as a group now. So that's been a really fun development, and something we're continuing to develop, and yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned worship. I have a little rapid fire here. So I'm going to give you the description. I just need you to label which of your crewmates from worship or yourself best fit the bill, okay? All
Go
right.
for it.
One, who would you say is the most brilliantly chaotic? Like, you can never quite expect what they're going to do during a set, but it always works out for the best.
Okay, so definitely culture shock. He's very spontaneous during sets. We almost have to sort of rein him in sometimes. He's famously late quite often. But he's also the person, like, if you're trying to make a sound or something in the studio, he's like the kind of mad scientist who knows how to do it. So he's like amazingly technical. Yeah, definitely have to be him.
Well, then I won't have to ask you who's latest for sound check. I think he answered that.
Yeah.
Who among you is the best showman?
The best showman.
Yeah.
I think I think it probably comes most naturally to Dimension. I think he's definitely an extreme extrovert on stage. And yeah, yeah, for sure. It's got to be Rob.
You might have teed this up, but who would you say is like the most technically or classically skilled as a DJ or a producer?
Uh, Oh, I mean, as a DJ, I think it's debatable. I mean, yeah, I think Culture Shock's probably the most technical, I'd say, if I was going to pick one person. But yeah, he's yeah, for sure, James.
Best dressed?
Best dressed. I would like to think I take best dressed, but I think we'd all fight over that one. No, I don't know. I can't put myself. I don't know. It's I'll pass on that one.
Okay. Last one, because I only had so many of these I can put. If we had a yearbook going, 1991 would be best what?
He is like the remix king, man. He is amazing at doing remixes. Like that is one of his huge skills amongst many others. But yeah, I'd have to give that to him.
All right, last one here for you, and I'll let you go. The work worship has been doing to bring drum and bass stateside has been so impactful, and I think one of the way it's resonated most is not just in the D&B artists that are on the rise in the US, but the famous names who are now starting to incorporate more and more D&B into their sets, whether that's the work he did with John Summit on Go Back, whether it's Dead Mouse now doing full on D&B sets. What has it meant for you to see drum and bass embraced in this way, not just by the fans, but by the wider EDM community?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really nice to see all those things kind of happening in tandem. I think um, it's hard to tell what kind of has moved the needle. I think that we definitely noticed that, like, a lot of massive kind of EDM DJs were like starting to end their sets with drum and bass, kind of like maybe like in that started to happen in 2023. I think that um, we've been touring together as Worship since 2020, and obviously had a couple of years break for the pandemic, but I think we really noticed like from 23 to 24 was like a huge jump in like in the venues that we were doing, and even like coming back this year it feels like a jump again. So yeah, it's just amazing to see America embrace the sound that we love, and we just want to kind of keep spreading the gospel of drum and bass, and hope that it continues to grow. And yeah, well, I think we feel a bit vindicated because we came out with a real mission statement of like really want people out here to kind of be exposed to the type of drum and bass that we love and we make. So it's really exciting to see it feel like it's becoming a bit of a movement, and I'm really keen for lots of US producers and talent to come through as well, and definitely starting to see that as well.
Nick, around the release of your new album Contact, if there's anything you want to tell the people, I'd love to give you the last word, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much for having me. I mean, I just love everyone to go and check my new album, Contact. It comes out Friday, the 21st of November. And thanks so much for having me on the show.